Alright, we are back for at English Restream of the Restream of RTA Japan Winter 2025. Currently sitting at 5.7 billion yen, hopefully reaching the 6 million pretty soon by the end of the day, or by the end of the day on the Japanese side. We just finished quite a unique Mega Man X remake with Maverick Hunter X Vava 100%. This can be checked out for anyone who missed it on YouTube when it will be when the VOD will be eventually uploaded today or in the next following days, or for any other event that you have missed. At this RTA in Japan event, there has been a lot of very good ones to watch. Now we are transitioning to Mega Man X3, and while the previous game was not available on Steam, this one is available with a Mega Man X version, with a 60% off on the winter sale or winter Steam sale. And as I finish this, we are transitioning with Mega Man X3, accompanied again by Mr. ZELLLOOO.
Thank you. Yeah, hi everyone. Again, I'm ZELLLOO or ZELLLOO, never matters. We'll give a quick brief overview. So this is Mega Man X3 on SNES. The category here is going to be 80%. You're going to see a little bit different here, like kind of similar but not really. We have a fantastic runner coming up here. We have Penso, and commentated by Shien OG. Both of them are like top 10 runners of this category, so this is going to be extremely well done on their end. So I will try and keep up with them. So this is 80%, so we're just going to get to the end of the game as fast as possible, as opposed to the 100% run we just saw from Maverick Hunter X. No restrictions. We're not going to be getting a whole lot of items this time. We're only going to be picking up just a couple of things. We will be playing the Japanese version specifically for this one. No major glitches or anything game breaking. It's mostly just text reasons. The text just scrolls a lot faster on JP as opposed to English versions, and it's likely a lot more readily available for them. So as far as basic movement goes in X3, we have the dash by default, thankfully, carried over from X2. So we're just going to be dashing and jumping wherever we can. Dash jumping to preserve momentum as needed. We get captured by Mac real quick, and that lets us play as Zero for a brief period. Zero we're not going to use much. We will use him at one other specific point. So I'm going to take this time to comment on the Buster, because the Buster mechanics in X3 are a little bit different compared to X1 and X2. We have like the normal uncharged shots, which we call lemons, and then we have half charges and full charges. So against bosses specifically, uncharged lemons, the lemons would do 1 damage, half charges would do 2, and full charges would do 3. And if you did a dash and then fired a lemon, that would do 2. In X1 or X2. That is not the case in X3 specifically. Against most bosses, only the fully charged does more than 1 damage, and even then it only does 2. So boss routing in this game is a little bit weird because of that, among other reasons. So Rescue X right here. We're just going to go fight against Mayo, the boss of the intro stage. Right here, the damage values between lemons, half charges, and full charges are actually 2, 3, 4 specifically for this fight. Half charges are optimal right here because they allow us to get damage off as much as possible without any downtime or waiting for invincibility frames to run out. So we're going to go for mostly half charges here. And then 1 full charge to finish up right there. So a nice quick fight. Had like 1 missed half charge due to invincibility frames, but otherwise a clean fight. Alright, so just like you saw during Maverick Hunter X, we have the 8 Maverick stages coming up right here. We play those, and then we play Endgame. We're going to go to Blizzard Buffalo first as our first stage, because we do get a useful item there, one of only 2 that we get, and this fight's pretty easy to do with just Buster only. So. The stage itself also has a lot of ice physics in play, so dashing and jumping off the slopes gives you a ton of speed, so we want to carry that as much as possible. We also want to gap jump up these ladders where possible. Like I said earlier during the Maverick Hunter X run, climbing ladders is slow. Don't do that.
道中は坂道の高速移動と駐車時を使用し、
We are passing by these empty rooms through these doors. Keep those in mind for later. They don't come into play yet until we're a couple bosses in, but keep those in the back of your mind. Now, once we get outside, we are going to take a slight detour and get the leg upgrade. So X can be upgraded with the leg, arm, head, and body parts. We're only going to get the leg upgrade here out of those 4. A little bit of trouble with that gap jump there. So Pencil's going to make this long dash jump here. And just barely catch the ledge. And grab the leg parts out of the capsule here. So the leg parts allow you to air dash like you would in X2, but in X3 you can air dash horizontally and vertically straight up. And this improves your movement options quite a bit to where even just the next stage alone is worth getting them, much less everywhere else in the run. So very, very useful to get even for any percent. So this first fight against Blizzard Buffalo is pretty funny. AI for bosses in this game is a little weird, and especially Blizzard Buffalo we can manipulate. If we jump and move in very specific ways, Blizzard Buffalo tries to just charge towards the wall over and over. We can just buster him down, so we'll manipulate him and then alternate between full charges for 2 shots and then an occasional lemon to kind of maximize our damage output here. He's constantly looking away from shots, so the poor dude literally didn't know what hit him.
CA4 についてはロックマイクス2のオープニングボスの名前が由来となっており、ボスの名前がそのまま攻略法の名称となりました。命名される前から攻略法を用いていた方も多くいらっしゃったかと思いますが、おそらく海外の方が命名してこの名称が定着。
So we get a weapon after every boss we kill here, and the one we get from Blizzard Buffalo is going to be the Frost Shield, which is pretty useful in casual play. And definitely has its specific moments in the run here. Mostly as a boss weakness, but one nice thing about it is that you can actually restore health with the Frost Shield, because enemies you kill with it tend to drop health. So we're going to follow mostly the boss weapon weakness order at this point, so we're doing Toxic Seahorse here. Getting real use out of that air dash already by being able to climb up several of these vertical sections. A lot of the stages in X3 are very vertically oriented. So just improving our mobility helps so much. Another empty room. We will talk about that in the next stage. But everything's pretty normal up here until we get to the mini-boss after the next door. Using the air dash right here to be able to skip some turtles here. Be very careful to avoid spikes. Spikes are always insta-kill, so always scary. We're going to spam Frost Shield right here and just get up close. Frost Shield is generally not a spammable weapon. You can only have one at a time, I think, on screen. But if you can spam up close, like Penso did right there, you could just absolutely destroy that mini-boss in a second and a half or so.
So the
water drains. We're going to use the air dash a little bit more here to just kind of get in some better positions after sliding down walls. The utility is just really good off of it. Some really, really tight wall kicks too, to just kind of like barely grab the very lower edge of the walls and then kick up. Good for skipping a bunch of stuff. Very clean. Alright, so we have a quick kill on Toxic Seahorse right here. So we can use the Frost Shield to start an invulnerability animation, but after a certain point, the invulnerability goes away while the animation's still playing, and we can spam additional hits before the animation plays again, like this. So done right, we can do it in 2 cycles. So very, very good. I'm not sure like the specific conditions for that, because I'm sure there's more to it, but it's useful, so take advantage of it where we can. So we get the acid burst for a weapon out of that. which is Tunnel Rhino's weakness. But first, let's talk about this cutscene right here. Get a little bit of exposition with Doppler, Dr. Doppler being one of the antagonists. And then we have these two robots here, Bit and Byte. Shout out to those who know your computers. Bit and Byte will actually start appearing in the stages as mini-bosses. And then we have a mysterious shadow figure. I don't think we've seen him before, Pigeon. Like, definitely doesn't look familiar at all from anyone in the last hour or so.
Yeah, no, I don't remember seeing that dude.
Alright, so what happens now is that Bit will randomly appear in one of these next three stages, stages 3 through 5, and Byte will start appearing in stages 6 through 8. So this is where those empty rooms come into play, is because if they're selected to show up in a stage, they will show up in that empty room and fight you. Now, we did the stages in a very specific way to where we already have the weakness for Bit ready, because we already have Frost Shield. We'll get to that whenever we get to Bit. But for now, we just kind of play through Tunnel Rhino stage right here. Acid Burst is useful in some spots to drop on enemies if needed. No Bit fight, so we're going to continue on.
このタンクの敵ドリームオール W というんですけれども、一定距離から横エア
Some really tight air dashes to get around those balls and enemies. That's pretty tight right there. Got another door coming up into the mini boss for this level. We can actually stand on the platform the mini boss is on and kind of abuse our invincibility frames from taking damage boost to be able to just stand and spam Buster. Oh, having a little bit of trouble right there, using the Acid Burst to clean up.
まあなんとかリカバリーはできました。
Should still have enough level to be able to do the rest of this safely. Like, we should have enough health here. And that is enough Acid Burst. Thankfully, Acid Burst is a very low-cost weapon. A little bit more gap jumping right here. Taking advantage of the Frost Shield ability to be able to generate health from defeated enemies. Good choice right there. We do want to avoid that where possible, though, because whenever you get weapon energy or health, it takes a few frames for every tick. So if you can save the frames and you think you can play it risky enough, go for it. But sometimes playing safe is the call, especially in a marathon setting. So, Tunnel Rhino here. He has a long invincibility time with his weakness, and that's kind of the cases with a lot of X3 bosses. So we're kind of gonna alternate between charge shots and Acid Burst here.
I thought it would be a good counter against the weakness of the ball that we have seen on the first stage.
最小限の被害で抑えたという感じですかね。
Got through that with no problem, thankfully.
このボス攻略したことで特殊武器トルネードファング、通称ドリルを入手しました。
So Penta having a fairly clean run overall so far, and looking good. We are actually going to go out of our weakness order for just a bit here. We're going to go to Neon Tiger next, because we want the Ray Splasher that we get from him.
次のステージ、タイガードステージですね。シャイニングタイガ
I
ード
like the design of the stage, just like seeing the forest and everything in the background. Like the backgrounds of the SNES X games are just really well done.
It's nice to see how the background art has progressed throughout the X series in comparison of the original Mega Man games.
Yeah, especially just working with more powerful hardware, you can just do so many good things. Hopefully gonna get this Frost Shield, quick kill on the mini boss. Managed to get it before it dug back up, very nice. Tough quick kill to get.
このボスは処理落ちを軽減した倒し方が新たに考案されたんですけれども、この処理落ちを軽減した
Yeah, this stage is a little odd as far as X3 goes, because this is one of the more horizontally aligned stages. Like I talked a little bit earlier that there's a lot of verticality in most of the stuff. This one's more horizontally aligned. Like this is pretty much just a straight shot to the boss after this little jungle section. Getting a little use out of the Tornado Fang that we got from Tunnel Rhino here. So we're gonna see if we get a bit fight here. No bit fight, so bit is guaranteed to show up in the next stage. So we will see that when we get into Volt Catfishes. So we're just gonna beeline into the boss room here.
被ダメージが大きいんですけれども、うまくすり抜けていきました。この後ボス戦シャイニングタイガー。
Alright, so we don't actually have Neon Tiger's weakness here.
非常に簡単に倒すことができるんですけれども、
So we're gonna just go with using our Buster. And then this is difficult because if you do this in the wrong way, I think Neon Tiger can block your shots using his claws. So Pence is gonna do some very specific movement, kind of get him to move in ways that are more favorable. And it is possible. I have seen to where you can actually stack multiple Buster shots in a very short period, but I'm not sure how that works. This has been a very clean fight so far. Getting a couple right there. So one more shot there. Very, very good, clean Neon Tiger fight.
結構いい乱数でしたね。このボスを倒したことで特殊武器レイスプラッシュ。
Yeah, I've known some friends who've casually played through this and went to Neon Tiger early, and they just get absolutely destroyed without the proper weapon. So very, very, very good handling there by Benzo.
道中でレイスプラッシャーが必須であるので、このタイミングでエレキテルナマスロステージに進みます。
Alright, so into Volt Catfish's stage right here, we do know that we are getting a bit fight once we hit the normally empty room. We do need to be very careful with our spaces, like the spacing on our dashes here, because we do want to avoid those laser traps that activate the moment you pass through the targeting reticle. So doing a very good job to space them out properly and get around them. Hopefully we can avoid this little elevator climb, being able to dash up just a little bit. Yeah, this is a very, very vertical stage. Even for X3 standards, this is a very vertically oriented section. And even the part later on is a big drop down. Alright, so here's our fight against Bit right here. So his weakness is Frost Shield, so we do need to get close to him. But the important thing to note is that there are two outcomes in this fight. We can either just force him to retreat, or we can kill him by killing him with the Frost Shield. We do not want to kill him. We want to leave him alive. We want him to retreat because that is a much shorter animation than killing him. And if we were to kill both Bit and Bite, we would actually change things in a later stage that we don't want to have happen. So
Yeah,
we just will him down with
could,
Frost Shield and just kind of just get the last hit with Buster. Go ahead, Pitcher.
Yeah, we kind of need the bit rate to stay alive for the stage to work.
2% なんで全部何も取らずに進んでいきます。
The rest of the stage is pretty short right here. We just get to the bottom of this area and we will be at the fight for Volt Catfish.
ボスエレキテヌナマズロスですね。
Now we do have Tornado Fang, which is his weakness, but Tornado Fang gives him such a long invincibility period to where it's worth it to just use Buster for as long as we can and get more damage that way.
できるだけバスターで削っていきます。
This also makes the fight quite a bit more difficult because we have a lot more attacks to deal with, and the way he flops around is actually surprisingly tricky to manage.
今1回来たので、まあ結構。
Alright, so now he ended up jumping to the middle, so we're going to go ahead and use the Tornado Fang to finish the fight out. As you can see, it just takes a long time before he stops flashing, so that's why we just kind of use the Buster as long as we could.
Isn't there a weakness to this boss?
It is the weakness, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, Tornado Fang is his weakness. But, like, weaknesses in this game, they gave such long invulnerability times because they probably saw people were killing bosses in X1 and X2 too fast.
maybe it's because they wanted the estimates of all the games to be all about 40-45 minutes, and they did not want this one to go down like 35 minutes or something. For the
we can say that's feasible. Alright, so Crush Crawfish's stage is going to be a little bit interesting because we're actually going to go out of our way into a secret area. We also might get a Bite fight here. It's possible to get Bite in the next 3 stages, but we're going to see after we go through this first door.
だいたい10フレームぐらい短縮されます。
Alright, so no bite fight. So we are going to take this secret teleporter that's hidden around here. There's several secret teleporters hidden in the levels, and all of them send you to this hidden factory area. This factory is optional, but it sets up things for something that we can get later, to the point where even though this takes about 2 minutes to do, it's worth it in the long run, because the item that we get from everything that we set up speeds up the end game so much. So we're just going to get into the boss fight right here.
機械に難易度は爆上がりしたという攻略法になってきます。実際2024年末までは 2% 最高難易度。
Oh my goodness, the boss is vile. I didn't know he was in the game. Definitely was not the shadowy figure.
No.
So we have two phases for Vile right here. Ray Splasher actually is the weakness for both of them, and you can kill him on just like Bit and Bite. The thing is, here we do want to destroy Vile, so the energy management actually needs to be very careful. And Pento is going to just be very careful to make sure he doesn't run out of Ray Splasher to deal the final hit here, because defeating Vile here, like by killing him, does make things change in a later level that we want.
Man will have like a game over twice in a day.
Getting double the Vile. It's awesome. So managed to get that final hit with Ray Splasher, so he's down. Goodbye, favorite Boba Fett impersonator. Now we have to escape the factory, and the factory is equipped with a handful of enemies, but a lot more lag than anything else. So we're gonna hopefully not have our jumps eating it at the very end. Try a Thunder from Volt Catfish getting some good use here, just being able to just dash into the enemies and just let loose. But otherwise we want to keep lag to a minimum here, so we're not going to use weapons otherwise. It's like this game, I believe, does have a Super FX chip in it, just like X2, to help with the mathematical calculations to do special effects and such. But the game really is struggling, and hopefully the SNES is exploding a little less than the factory there. Alright, so we're back in the stage here. We've already passed the bite checkpoint, and there was no bite, so we're just gonna book it to the end here and go take down the boss.
Makes me wonder if they will accommodate for the lag in the Legacy collection.
Yeah, the Legacy collection is so much. Interestingly, like in the PS2, the PS2 and GameCube X collections, they actually use the PS1 version of this game instead of the SNES. That was like my first experience with that. Alright, into Crush Crawfish right here. We do have a quick kill similar to Toxic Seahorse, where we're going to incite iframes using Triad Thunder, and then we can spam Buster, and hopefully we can do this in 2 cycles. Doesn't look like we're going to get 2 cycles here. Oh, just manages to squeeze out that second cycle. Oh, that was so good. Yeah, I didn't think Pencil was going to get that. Wow. Really impressive mashing on the second cycle there.
バスターを当て続けられるというボスとなっております。
Well, we have 2 bosses left in the main 8 right here, so we're going to go to Gravity Beetle next. Just continue following weakness order from here. The spinning blade that we got from Crush Crawfish is very useful for the stage, since it fires 2 blades out, and each of those can do separate damage, and it does pretty good damage to begin with, so it's really good at just knocking out these missile turrets and such.
この後ちょっと難しいんですけれども、うまくいきました。もうチャージをしながら
See if we get a bite fight right here. And it looks like we have a bite fight. So just like we did with Bit, we don't want to kill him. We will use his weakness a bit, which is Tornado Fang in this case. But the final hit, we do not want to hit him with that. Now, these mines are a little bit annoying because they kind of magnetically pull you towards the walls if you're too close, if I remember right. Unless I'm thinking the wrong boss. Been a while. Yeah, they kind of propel you away. So. Good kill right there. And we did kill him on the right side, so we can just enter the door and leave immediately. I'm sorry, not kill, defeated. Gotta have the right terminology.
そこから
Yeah.
13日後に今の原型となる実戦等に
Someone mentioned that X2 and X3 had that special custom ship used in the games
5ヶ月間の間に特殊能
help for the
力
performances.
I know the Super FX chip was used in several cartridges. I'm pretty sure it's used in X2 and X3, but it might be a custom chip. Somebody can check me on that.
ここはうまいことドリルを使いながら進んでいきます。
Elevator completely skipped thanks to air dashing. So even with the time it took to get in Blizzard Buffalo stage, that alone saved it all.
もう少ししたところなんですけ
Just
れ
a
ども
really, really good
ちょっと難
ability.
しいところになってきます。
First stage is pretty straightforward. We're just gonna climb up to Gravity
こ
Beetle.
こですね。十字キーの上方向キーを2回押すというテクニックを使っていきます。
So we're probably gonna actually use Ray Splasher the entire time right here. It's just safer to do so. And I don't think the iframes were that bad compared to trying to go for Buster strats. We might open with a charge right here though. So we'll open with a charge and we'll Ray Splasher the rest. He's pretty non-threatening this way.
レイスプラッシャー5発当てた後に乱数分岐ですね。お、うまくいきましたね。確率は 75% です。
And thankfully we have enough health, the pencil can just tank anything. So, nice easy fight there.
だいたい80フレームぐらいの短縮になってますね。前までは最初に大チャージ当てた後にレイスプラッシャーをずっと当
Alright,
てて
7 bosses down, 1 to go. And we've already dealt with Bit and Bite, so next stage is going to be really, really short compared to all the others.
無敵時間が消えるという仕様がありまして
All we've got left is Blast Hornet right here. We do have another elevator, so we're going to hopefully skip it with some more vertical air dashing.
ステージですね。このボス、このステージなんで
But
す
otherwise,
けど
like this stage is like oddly short for an X3 stage.
イベントっていうのがあるんですけれども、ビートブートを倒していると強制イベントっていうのが発
Had
生
a little bit of trouble with that first elevator cycle skip right there. It is pretty tight to get the positioning there, since you can't dash off the wall since that counts as your dash.
このボスの弱点ではあるんですけれども、さっき取ったバグフォールという武器ですね。バグフォールに関しては
We do have a mini boss right here, the little wireframe. Acid Burst is good for hitting it and dealing the damage, but this thing does pop up every time you hit it, so the positioning is going to be very careful to make sure we don't accidentally pop it into our face.
RTA でも始めた点頃はすごい苦戦するボスですね。
So, nice clean kill right there. No issues. Yeah, there's not really too much going on in this level. I do like the warehouse area. And it's unfortunate we don't really get to see the ride armors, because I believe this is, if I remember right, this is the first stage you can actually get ride armors. Ride armors work a bit differently in X3 compared to X1 and X2. You have to get the base ride armor from this stage, whichever stage it was, before you can use any of the other ride armors. And there's several types, which is pretty neat, but we unfortunately just do not see them in any category of this game.
最初に大チャージを当てて、その後にスピニングブレードという特殊武器を使っていきます。
Alright, with that brings us to Blast Hornet. Gravity Well is his weakness, but it takes too long. It is a long animation to deal the damage and iframes, so we're just going to go for a soft weakness. Spinning Blade does 2 damage per hit here, so it's pretty much a charge shot that we don't have to actually charge. So just have to be very careful to avoid the Hornets, but otherwise it's a pretty non-threatening fight, as long as you just kind of follow the figure 8 pattern. Very nice.
Very short boss for a very short stage.
Yeah, I think when I was watching Penso's PB and looking at their splits, this stage was only like 2 minutes, like definitely less than 2.5, and the others were like closer to 3 as a whole.
I would not have been surprised if this was sub 2 minute stage.
Alright, a little bit of a cutscene before we go into the Doppler stages. I think this is like canonically the last time we see Dr. Kane, who's the one, like lore-wise, he's the one who found X. But I think this is actually the last time we see him in the series.
ただ
Kind of just dropped off after that.
この後半ステージここから続くんです
All right, so we've got 4 Doppler stages to get through right here. We have all of our weapons.
難しくなったこともあって
-1. We will get into that in the next stage.
かなり
For the most part, you kind of get to see the full arsenal because there's a lot of really good things with every weapon that we can use here between Spinning Blade, between Triad Thunder, Parasitic Bomb, just a lot of different options to knock enemies out while we're still moving.
武器となっておりますパラスティックボムですねかなり有用な武器なんですけれども後半入手となってしまうので使うところが限られてしまうというちょっと悲しい武器
Vertical air dash also getting some good use right here.
ボスですね
Do have a quick mini boss. This mini boss is a little funny because if Zero, like you can call Zero at any point in a stage. You can't use him in boss fights normally, but you can call him during a stage, and you can permanently lose him. If you still have Zero, he kind of holds the ceiling in place for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But we kill the mini boss long before that ever happens.
ちょっとかっこいい戦い方になってますこの後
So the rest we're just mostly just going to be navigating around enemies here. We can use Tornado Fang on these bots to try and get around them. If they're still getting hit by it, then they lose their hurt boxes, so that can be really, really useful for getting around stuff without having to kill them.
テンソさんとシゲルさんのアイディアに
Alright, so we actually have, since we did not kill Bite or Bit, we actually fight one boss that's quite a bit faster, Godkar Machine Oinari. Now the thing about this fight is that every attack does at least 6 damage, so we die in 2 hits at best. And we need to use Ray Splasher for weakness here, so it's going to be very, very tight on movement. And just really being careful to react to the fists, especially since one can track. But it's looking good right here. A very clean kill. Yeah, that fight is extra scary. If we had killed both Bit and Bite, we would have actually fought a different boss altogether. That is so much more of a pain in the butt. So that is one of the big reasons, aside from the animations, that we don't kill Bit or Bite.
ロックマン X3 RTA 配信者のシーナさんによって確立されました。
Alright, so this is one of the most changed stages because we actually defeated Vile at the factory and killed him off. So defeating Vile in the factory, there's a little area at the bottom here that's actually going to be flooded because we defeated Vile. So this is actually a little neat because we get a little bit of tech where Penzo's going to try and get above the water surface where possible and be able to repeatedly air dash across the top. I think we might have missed it. Okay, it looks like we're just going to go ahead and change to 0 now. So this is the other change right here and why we went to factory. We are actually going to fight this mini boss coming up that's normally not here, but if you defeat 0, or if you defeat Vile at the factory, you can bring 0 into this room and fight Mosquitus. We're going to do this kill in a very specific way to try and skip an animation. And he got it! Penzo got it right there, so it looks really funny. So you have a floating, kneeling 0 in midair, and 0 just kind of standing there as well. So what we did, Penzo managed to skip the animation where Mosquitus lands on 0 and brings him down to 1 HP. And this cutscene looks really funny with 0 midair. Because of that, we skipped that animation and saved some time. Now, by having 0 defeat Mosquitus, he's out of the game for the rest of the run. But he gives the Z-Saber to X. So now X now has a Z-Saber, which is really good because that has a whole bunch of damage and unlocks one new movement option, what we call neon jumps. We're going to use these neon jumps here to damage boost all the way up the wall. This is a really, really tough trick right here to avoid all these slow climbs. Probably the hardest thing in the entire game, but we're going to use iframes and neon jumps to get all the way to the top. Might be able to recover this still. Just has just little enough and manages to make it all the way to the top right there.
Yeah, very tricky.
Absolutely incredible.
All the instant death spikes as well.
Yeah, instant death spikes. That is probably the most difficult thing to do in this entire run in like any category of this game. Also, because the area is flooded, we're actually going to fight a different boss here instead of Vile. We're actually going to fight, quote unquote, fight Volt Kuragil. The Z-Saber does 16 damage per hit. So we didn't see a whole lot of that, and that's going to be the theme of the rest of the run. Because the Z-Saber just absolutely destroys everything for the rest of the game. And
今のように爪に吸収させ
the
て
Doppler 3, you might,
爪に吸収
if you're a
させ
Mega
る
Man
こ
fan,
と
you can probably
で
guess what's next. We have boss refights coming up. Well, these boss refights are going to go by so quickly because we have the saber.
話題の画面式ですが、このステージ後半に登
So
場
there's not too much to talk about right here. I will say, if needed, if the Penstone does need some additional health, there is a capsule in the middle of the room that refills
このステージもかなり
between fights,
進化した
and he can bop that to get some extra health as needed, but shouldn't need it considering we have the Z saber and we can end these fights instantly. I will also say the tricks for Crush Crawfish and Toxic Seahorse with the abusing the invincibility frames and being able to quick kill them, those still apply here. But since we have the Z saber, it pretty much does damage on every frame, and we'll be able to kill them in one cycle instead of two. Otherwise, these refights are pretty much exactly what you'd expect. So, Pigeon, if you have anything you want to plug, now is the perfect time.
前半
Well, yes, as mentioned just a bit before Volan, the Mega Man X collection is available on Steam at 60% off. We're also slowly closing in on the donations towards the 6 million yen threshold for RTA in Japan. Maybe not quite for this one yet, but possibly for the next one, which is a freeway race of Donkey Kong Country Returns, the HD remake, and it is a 80% modern mode that will happen. So some exciting runs that are coming up towards RT in Japan as well. And to look into the run, I feel like currently we are in some kind of Schrodinger's cat experiment where we don't quite know if Zero is destroyed or if Zero is still alive. And we'll only know at the end of the game if we will be able to see Zero alive again or not.
このボスランダム行動になってまして非常に
Yeah, aside from this, yes, we do have Donkey Kong Country Returns just after this. We have some commentary by Lee Kazuno. And after this, we have Sin and Punishment and Final Fantasy 1 Pixel Remaster that will be coming up today. And Dragon Quest Monster, Stella's Wonderland 3D. Much of short and longer runs that will be coming up. But the Mega Man X or Mega Man block will be over just after this one, which had some very beautiful commentary by ZELLLOOO, very in-depth stuff. Are you running more Mega Man games currently, or you have other projects going on in terms of speedrun RTA?
I don't have anything in particular for as far as Mega Man games go, but I can get into other projects in a little bit. But I do want to say, after this Mega Man block, you definitely want to stick around. You are in good hands for Donkey Kong Country Returns with 3 fantastic runners and commentated by Leah here, who is a fantastic runner herself. You are in absolutely good hands. Bye-bye Toxic Seahorse, by the way. So I think we are getting close to the end of refights here, so let me pick up on the next fight here. We will be fighting Dr. Doppler, who has a little bit of a gimmick. He does put up a shield whenever you try and hit him. It looks like we actually still have 2 free fights. So I'll hold off on that for just a bit. But just keep in mind a little bit of a gimmick fight. But now we can take out Neon Tiger. Like, you have claws, I have sword. Sword is better than claws here. I'm sorry. Oh, we did see the block for just a second.
He got clever for a second.
He thought he had a big enough hitbox to block the saber. It's like, no, I'm just gonna go over you, man.
次にシュリンパー戦ですね
I haven't been keeping track of which refights we've done, and I don't remember which one this is, but it looks like this is going to be the last one right here. We have Crush Crawfish, so we should be able to get a 1 cycle here using the same glitch we saw earlier.
サーベル一撃ですね
Very nice. Yeah, that's probably a little bit tight because you have to start charging the saber. You have to switch immediately after Triad Thunder and then immediately switch to the saber to start charging it up. Okay, so now we'll talk about Doppler. So Doppler has a shield whenever you try and attack him, and if a hit would not bring his HP down to 0, the shield will absorb the attack and heal him for that much. So we're going to kind of take advantage of those mechanics right there. So what Pencil's going to do is we're going to have a Buster Shot initially misdirect to put the shield up, and then when he puts the shield down, we're going to hit him with the first saber hit. And remember, the next saber hit would put his HP to 0, so even if he tries to, he can't put the shield up at that point. So 2 saber hits should be able to do the job as long as Penso does this right here.
ドップラー戦です。このボスもそうですね。
Very nice.
Nice.
うまく弾を誘導しながら倒します。
Two clean hits.
2 nice clean hits. Oh, we defeated the antagonist. That was everything, right? Oh no, Sigma's around. Who would have thought?
ドップラーから告げられます。
I will say Sigma is one of my favorite butt chin villains. All the butt chin villains I can think of are always great.
あんまりこうステージの言及す
To
る
be
こと
fair,
は
would have thought that Doppler would be going mask off, and it would actually be revealed that that guy would have been Sigma all along.
Yeah, pulled a Dr. Wily right there.
Hmm.
So nothing too much in this stage. We're just going to go to the end. I do appreciate the Sigma bodies in the background, but we're coming up on the final boss fights coming right up here. So first up, we have 2 phases of Sigma. We have Captain America Sigma first.
このボスシビアなので
We do have to be very careful to not get blocked here, and the fireballs do a pretty good amount of damage, but thankfully got through that first phase, no problem. Like, Captain America Sigma is, like, my second favorite Sigma, aside from Hobo Sigma and X6. He is unironically my favorite.
これで倒したと思うなよという
And now we have Kaiser Sigma, who is normally a very, very difficult fight because he's got this huge body with a very tiny hitbox for the head. But thankfully, Saber
顔がちっちゃい
pretty much trivializes it.
しかも顔にしか
Makes
当
this
た
fight
り
so much
判定がないという
Because look at that contact damage. Oh no!
Ooh,
I
yikes.
cursed it! The contact damage twice! Contact damage doing 8 per hit right there and taking him out.
Oh, got to get rid of both phases.
Yeah, it's
kinda
unfortunate
weird
there's no
that-
checkpoint.
Yeah. It's so weird to see that at the end, at least on the X games, you just have to go for such a tiny hitbox every time against the final boss.
Every
against
time.
壁を使うより
Yeah.
も左壁
Well, we get to destroy Sigma again. I think that's worth it for the content.
You get to see Captain America Sigma again.
Yes!
うまくいき
My
ました
favorite. My second favorite.
リベンジいきましょう
More frames of glory.
More frames of lag, more like. This is not the most laggy game, but there are some very laggy portions, as we saw earlier in the Vial Factory. All right, so hope Penso's going to get a second shot here, and hopefully not have contact damage shenanigans again.
最初撃ってくるんですけれどもこの弾がランダム要素になっててどうしようも
Was
ない
it the X game that was delivered on the Super Famicom?
おーうまく
This was the last, the last Super Famicom SNES game. Oh no, that hitbox! Oh, absolutely ridiculous hitbox on Kaiser Sigma there. It was like the very edge of the sprite, too. Yeah, after this game, they transitioned into PS1 games for the X series, which have their own charms, despite some things about them.
サーベルをエクスチェンジでキャンセルしてからウェアダッシュを行っています
So there's,
I can't talk. I named myself after an X6 meme, so I can't talk.
Mm. 第一形態は
I would have thought it would be coming from ZX since there is the Z in it, but might be different when I think.
The timeline is all weird, like combining everything together. Go from like classic to X to 0 to ZX to Legends. It's a long timeline, and then Battle Network is just kind of its own thing. All right, come on, Kaiser Sigma, play nice. Oh, goodness. Everything just does a boatload of damage. And since we don't have like any power-ups like to reduce damage or such or get more health, it's just
チャージ
Now
の
thankfully game overing is not a big deal because, well, we already were starting at the beginning of the stage, so it's not a huge problem.
I guess Sigma also has a Z sword inside his Kaiser armor.
調子いいですね
Mhm. His different forms are so interesting from game to game, especially after this. Like, then they just start getting really bizarre.
第2形態も運が良かった
All right, come on,
ら
Penso, you got
まあ
this.
さっきまでと同じ倒し方でうまくいけるかなと思います。
Of note is that time will not end immediately when boss HP hits 0. There is a little more to do after that. Good first hit.
OK です。うまくいきました
There we go.
Nice.
Yeah, just abuse the iframes from one of the mines to be able to get that second hit
こ
cleanly
のボ
without
ス
getting
通
interrupted.
常プレイでもめちゃくちゃ苦しんだ方多くいらっ
Alright,
しゃ
all
る
that's left is the final climb right here. So Sigma is like, I'm gonna take you down with me. I'm not letting you
ブックマイク3
go without a
まだあるん
fight.
か
So
第二
he
形態
can knock you into this rising lava. The lava doesn't insta kill you. It does do some
ダ
damage.
メ
So
ージを与えることは
definitely
で
do
き
not
ない
want
の
to
でこの
take a dip for too long and
下
end up losing all our
避
HP.
けながら
You're escaping from a Sigmatrix.
この後タイマーストップになり
The
ます
Sigma Matrix. I think it's the same wireframe they used it at the end of X2 as well. And that is time right there.
Nice.
Overall, an excellent run from Penso. Like the end of that, with how odd the hitboxes are, I absolutely do not blame them. It was an overall very solid run.
先が行き止まりになって
Yeah, still underestimate as well, which is pretty nice. Usually like, the balance are pretty tight on the estimates.
シグマがまず追いつい
Yeah, I think before the deaths happened, we were probably on like 40 pace, which would be very extra good.
てくるんですけれども
Only a handful of people have a sub 40 in this game, and Penso has a very, very solid time. It's like 39, 16 or something. Very, very, very solid. They're one of the top runners, and rightfully so.
ここでエンディング
So the ending plays out since we lost Zero during that. We have the other ending where Doppler tries to take Sigma virus in and just kind of self-destruct to take him with him, and unfortunately that doesn't work out for us. But hey, we get 5 more X games after that, so
うまくいったと
take that as you will.
かなと個人的
In
に
the, in the Schrödinger's cat experiment of the Zero scene, Zero was actually dead all along.
高評価コメントしていただけるととても嬉しいです
Well, maybe we'll see more Zero in a future marathon, but for me, that is it with X3. So I hope y'all enjoyed my commentary. I hope y'all continue enjoying RTA in Japan. Pigeon, thank you for joining me for this.
環境変わっちゃうと
Thank you for submitting your commentary for us.
どうしてもやっぱり
Very well done.
チャージとかっていうのが
Really good to listen for both
会場
games.
でのこの緊張とかもあって
Do you have any plans for 2026 for
音の
speedruns?
聞こえ方が違う
I am actually rerouting New Super Marissa Land 100%, which is a really, really good Toho fan game. Just a Mario style platformer. It's a really fun one. I'm not done rerouting. I kind of put it off to focus on stuff like this. I will say I do have one other thing to do for this marathon for RTA in Japan. If you like music games or dance games, I will be playing Pump It Up Phoenix on Marathon remotely in about 36 hours or so, 34 hours or so. So if you like your music games, I will be on camera at some point in just a couple days.
誠にありがとうございます
Oh. Oh, you see, you rerouting the 100% for New Super Mario Island?
Yes.
Oh, I could link you to a runner I know who did 100% not too long ago, Shinsa, if you know.
I do have Gotonus's run as a kind of a base that I've been using. I've actually like almost been done, but I can get in contact later.
Yeah, Shinsa had done like a run more recently and was also doing along with Gotona in the chat, so I could try to make you go in contact with him later.
That sounds good. Thank you. But yeah, that's going to be it for me as far as commentary goes. Thank y'all for enjoying, and hope y'all enjoy the rest of the commentary.
Yep. And you would want to stay for the next round because we have a freeway race on Donkey Kong Country Returns with 3 very good runners and also some excellent commentary with Leah Kazuno.
この後はドンキーコンズグ
And yeah, I will be staying with you for a little bit more before switching over to Sawayoshi on the hosting side a bit later for the Into the Run. But for now, I will be taking a short break before the next one arrives in. Thank you very much for watching and see you in a little bit.